pull up inside coffee shop after protesters turn up at launch, unquote. Honestly, you couldn't make this stuff up. And the one time that we've seen the mayor go out in public in the last few months, I haven't seen him out there, he goes to one business for, I think it was 15 minutes. 6 concerned citizens showed up, and he's forced to hide inside because he cannot engage with conversation of 6 random people of the 9 million voters in London. Isn't that amazing? That the man who wants to be your next mayor can't even have a conversation with people on the streets. This says a lot to me, and I'm going to talk more about this. For those of you that haven't seen the video, I want to show you a short clip of what happened when he actually did come out of the coffee shop with his armed security people to keep away the voters of London. God forbid that he engage with them as mayor. This is what it looked like. These are the kind of questions they were asking him. I'm going to play this video for you right now.
Sadiq, will you talk to us a minute? This LTN is very socially regressive and it's killing people with the air pollution. Sadiq, why won't you talk to us? Sadiq, please talk to us. We're just a few residents. Sadiq, please talk to us. Well, it's just very disappointing. You know, we live in a democracy and this is really not good enough. He's come here for our vote, I would have thought, and there's no engagement with us at all. It was just a photo opportunity, and that was it.
And what you see there are some frustrated residents from Enfield that decided to show up to the Hot Milk Coffee Cafe, which I'm sure is an excellent cafe, because they wanted answers for the low traffic neighborhoods that had been imposed on them in their borough of Enfield. And for a lot of you that maybe not know what an LTN is, it's a great scheme the mayor had that he cooked up when he was at his top floor office building in the Glass City Hall, where he decided to probably create this idea that was going to be part of his green initiative, probably sent out a press release and never thought about how it would actually affect the people in the boroughs. And this is what they do. He sticks these bollards, these basically giant planters, and blocks off certain roads. But these are roads going to the homes of people that live in London. And while it sounds great on paper that this is going to reduce emissions, it actually doesn't. And we've seen an increase in emissions, we've seen an increase in traffic, we've seen businesses shut down on the back of it, we've seen ambulances that can't respond to critical care, and we've seen people fined from visiting their relatives. Now, the reason I know so much about this is because I had a similar conversation in Ealing a couple weeks ago, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But the truth is there are some very angry people in this city right now. All they want is to be listened to by their mayor, or the man or the woman who's going to be their mayor. It doesn't seem much to ask to listen to some citizens. They are voting for you, by the way. And that's one of the gentlemen in the video, which I'll play for you in length later, said at the very end, he said, "I assume he came here to get our vote. Why won't our mayor listen to our concerns?" And again, the crowd was actually quite well behaved. They weren't malicious. They weren't trying to get violent. They weren't using foul language. They just wanted some answers from their mayor about a scheme that's actually making their lives very uncomfortable and costing them a lot of money at a time when we're in our worst recession in 300 years. And so I'll speak on this a little bit more, and I want to play for you a couple videos. But before we do that, I want to show you a video of something that we encountered when it came to a citizen talking about the low traffic neighborhoods. But before I do that, I want to tell you that we've been actually in the mainstream media a lot. So this is basically a two-person race at this point. It's us against Sadiq Khan, and on May 6th, you can make the choice of who you want to run this city for the next 3 years. And you'll see some of the headlines that we've had recently. This is something from the Evening Standard, and it was talking about how small political parties like us are being squeezed out by a lot of these COVID canvassing rules. And as I said, when we were stopped by the City of London police, it felt very political. And I feel as if the mayor is trying to box us out of campaigning because he knows that we are a threat to him, because we come with the best ideas, we come with an independent voice, and we are so transparent, like I am with you right now, like I am with you when I'm traveling to every single borough of London. Another headline for you, this came from The Express, and this is me commenting again how the mayor seems to want to stop us from campaigning, stop from me getting you the message. And it says, a quote from me, when I said it stinks. And of course, it says Sadiq Khan attacked after London mayor candidate, that's me, fined over a lockdown breach. Again, this is the mayor trying to stop us from campaigning, but you can see a picture of me out there with our digital battle bus doing that anyways. And we're taking this bus and continuing to go out there. Next, I want to share with you a video of a similar occurrence with what happened with the mayor yesterday, except I did something that the mayor didn't do. I decided to listen. That's what I did. I wanted to hear what was frustrating these people in Ealing, and it was all about low traffic neighborhoods. Now, I'm going to play you this video shortly, and it's from a man named Adam. Now, Adam heard that I was in the Ealing neighborhood, and he walked, I think, 30 minutes because he was so frustrated with these low traffic neighborhoods, and no one had come to listen to their concerns in a year. And he walked up to me, and you can see how visibly angry he is. And at first I said, Adam, I'm not the mayor yet. So I wasn't responsible for these ridiculous policies. I said, I know, Brian, I'm not angry with you. I'm angry with the situation. And then I sat there and I listened to Mark, I think for about 45 minutes, and almost every single resident chimed in because they were frustrated. But even though I'm not the mayor yet, my job is to listen, and to listen to your frustrations, and to take all that information and try to make better policies. And so here is me listening to Adam from Ealing talk about his frustrations with the low traffic neighborhoods. I think this is the conversation Mayor Sadiq Khan could have had if he had found any value in listening to the people that are going to vote for him. So here's Adam from Ealing.
Absolutely, everyone's done that. The main mayor, right, and the government funded that scheme. Yeah. They paid the money to Ealing Council to implement it. There was many people that feel the same as me. We had an ambulance whilst this scheme was up, and a man had a heart attack inside. It's all over the news, okay? And they couldn't reach him in time because the ambulance didn't have the key in time. This isn't a local council thing. It's government and it's mayoral. You're right. That's where it sits. Those fundings comes out to these places to put these schemes in place, and we don't look absolutely correct. You're correct, right? And I'm almost trying to hold my temper. Yeah. That's how I feel. I'm so angry. Okay. Absolutely angry. Okay. There's local businesses inside that LTN that cannot operate. They're shutting down. There's a car mechanics, there's no getting past the trade. Pharmacy, which serviced the local area that I could walk to, shutting. Okay, so what they do is they stick these barriers. If anybody makes a mistake, 200 quid.
And first of all, I really want to thank Adam for going out of his way to coming over and voicing his opinions. He was obviously very frustrated, and you probably couldn't see about 20 residents off camera who also voiced their own issues and concerns, all surrounding the low traffic neighborhoods and the fact that they were never consulted with. The mayor made these decisions without actually finding out how much they were hurting people, generating millions of pounds of fines from residents when they can't afford to pay them. Again, stopping ambulances from traveling in these neighborhoods, ruining businesses because of the lack of footfall, increasing emissions, increasing traffic. And you can see that frustration from Adam, and you can see how I listened to him. And I think what we see here is what I might call the tale of two mayors. You've got one who runs and hides, and one who wants to stand there and engage with the voters. And I believe the job of mayor is to do two things. It's to listen and to serve. That's it. Listen to the citizens and serve the citizens. And you can see our current mayor, he has two other jobs, to run and to hide. And so on May 6th, you have a choice of who you want to be your next mayor of London. Someone who listens and serves, or someone who runs and hides. And this is what you need to decide. The rumor over at Labour Party headquarters right now is that Sadiq Khan is no longer allowed to go out in public until May 6th because it would, quote unquote, jeopardize the election. And so now you see me, who will be going out to every single borough in London. I'll be logging probably another 3,000 to 5,000 miles on my digital battle bus, coming to see as many people in London as possible. I want to talk to you in a COVID-secure manner. I want to listen to your issues, and I'm going to be out there on the pavement, versus the current mayor of London, who is literally being forced to hide in his office because he can't afford another PR disaster like you saw yesterday, because he can't step foot on the pavement of London without being yelled at and run after by angry citizens of London. And this is only one issue, low traffic neighborhoods. What if he bumped into someone who had an issue with his shocking record on knife crime? What about someone who was frustrated with the congestion charge increase? What about someone who has been waiting for an affordable home for 5 years, Mr. Mayor? Where are your affordable homes? And what about someone who is waiting for the economy to be kick-started, waiting for a plan to rebuild the economy? Any number of those people would have acted the same way yesterday. They would have been frustrated, and your mayor would have run and hide. And that's what his plan is, and that's probably what his plan is for the next 3 years if you decide to vote for him on May 6th. And let's be clear, on May 6th, you have the opportunity to fire Sadiq Khan. That's your choice on May 6th. You have the democratic right to vote. And now you know the candidates. You have me, you have Sadiq Khan. You make that choice, but you have to live with that for 3 years. And again, good luck trying to get an answer for 3 years. You might be doing a lot of running at that point if you want some accountability. So I want to talk today a little bit more about that incident. I also want to talk today about the announcement yesterday by the mayor of his big plans to get your vote on May 6th, which is all about jobs, 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 which I find pretty fascinating because that's his plan. He wants to kickstart the economy, and yet this same mayor last week increased your council taxes by 10%. That's his plan to kickstart the economy. And he also, yesterday in his announcement, did not address his horrible record on knife crime. He did not address his complete lack of affordable house building. And he did not address his bankrupting the TfL twice last year. Didn't even mention those things. And he did not give a way to rebuild London's economy. And if you look at his history, he has no clue how to kickstart this economy because he's never run a business in his life. He's never made a deal in his life. He's never had business experience, and that's why we need a business person in charge if we want to go forward in this city. I have 30 years of experience in the industry sector. I've worked in automotive. I've worked in aerospace. I've worked on Wall Street. I've worked in the City of London with some pretty difficult characters there. I've worked in tough environments where you have to get things done. I've worked in new media. For my show, London Real, I've worked in digital education, and I know how to kickstart this economy. We're at a fork in the road right now. We can either kickstart London's economy and be one of the leading cities in the world, or we can have 3 more years of your current mayor literally running and hiding, offering no solutions to rebuild this economy, and I see London struggling and continuing to be one of the worst performing cities in Europe and the world. So we have 2 choices here, and I want to talk about that today. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate, again, today I want to talk about 3 sections, and I want to get your answers right now. I want to talk a little bit more about what happened yesterday. I want to talk about Sadiq Khan's new policies to create jobs, jobs, jobs. And then I want to show you my plan to rebuild London and make London what I'm calling the center of the world. Make London restart safely and faster than any other city in the world and grab all the market share from industry, from business, from tourism, from finance, from creative, from culture, and bring it to the City of London. I have a plan, and it's more than just when we get out of lockdown. That's not enough. The mayor needs to be proactive with innovative solutions that help business and help create jobs, and I'm going to share with you those today. First of all, I want to hear from you. So type in right now, wherever you're watching me right now, we're live, and I'm going to be reading your questions out right now. First of all, tell me if you're in London, what borough do you live in? If you're not, tell me what city you live in. Tell me what is your biggest challenge right now. I want to hear it. I don't want to run and hide from your questions. I want to hear your questions, and give me hard questions. And that's my final thing. Ask me a question right now and make it a hard question because I want to hear it, because that's how I learn how I can best serve you. Secondly, tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? Tell me honestly, have you lost a job? Have you suffered with your business? Third, the mayor just announced a 10% increase in council rates during the worst recession in 300 years. Do you think it's fair to tax citizens now? And do you think he knows how to kickstart the economy? Fourth, tell me, what question would you ask the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, if he didn't run away from you and hide? What question would you like to ask him? And finally, do you think we need an independent voice, fresh ideas, and new leadership to take London in a new direction? So, little update here from London Real World Headquarters and Brian from May Headquarters. Of course, I am Brian Rose, and I plan on being your next mayor of London on May 6th, and we're super excited to make that happen. A few updates on the campaign trail. First of all, we are in 2nd place right now, according to every single major bookmaker in the world. And the truth is this: I am the only person who can beat Sadiq Khan, and I will beat him on May 6th. He knows it, I know it, and now the voters of London know it as well. We are confident, and we know that we are going to become your next mayor of London. And yesterday's performance, the running, the hiding, it just goes to show that it's time for a change, and we believe that we are the best candidate to lead this city into the future. All volunteer efforts and campaign is going super strong, so I want to thank all of the people in my inner circle group of volunteers. These are the people behind the scenes right now that are going and they'll be handing out leaflets, they'll be making phone calls, they'll be telling all of the 9 million plus citizens of London about our incredible policies and our incredible ideas. So I want to thank you. If you want to be a part of my volunteer campaign, go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. We'll ask you for some information. We'll ask you to do some posts. We'll learn more about you. And if we vet you, you can come in and join us on this incredible, incredible ride all the way to City Hall. Next, I want to say that our brand new bus is debuting on March 22nd. It's a brand new look. And look, most of you have seen the old bus. It is absolutely incredible to see that thing in person. It's larger than life. And again, it's our digital battle bus. It's actually not a bus, if I'm honest with you. It's actually a live broadcasting studio that's mobile. And I can go through every single one of the 32 boroughs in London. It's incredible. Everyone loves the bus. And I've logged nearly 3,000 miles on that bus in London. I could have gone from here to Scotland, to back to Wales, back to Scotland, back here. I've logged that many miles here in this city because it's important for me to understand the struggles of the people on the streets. And by the way, I've been driving that bus forward. I haven't been running and hiding with my bus. And that's what makes the difference between me and your current mayor. So the new wrap is happening on the 22nd. It's a new look and you're going to love it. Next, order your Brian for Mayor stickers now. You can order free Brian for Mayor stickers right now by going to our website, brianformayor.london/stickers. These are incredible pieces of graphic work that you can stick anywhere you want. All right, anywhere you want. It's none of my business. Just make sure it's an appropriate place. But order those now. I want to send those to you and share with your friends, your family, your community. Put them in your windows, how you feel about the next mayor for London. Next thing, I want you to lock in your postal vote right now. We did a survey recently, and it turns out that 70% of Londoners would prefer to vote via post. Now, maybe this is convenience. Maybe it's the comfort of your own home. Maybe it's because of safety reasons. You know what? I am here to serve as usual. So we've set up an entire system to help you vote by post. If you go to brianformayor.london/postal, you can put in your name and address, and we will literally print you out a form or send it to you via email that you can then print out at home. All you have to do is sign your name, date of birth, and mail it into your council, and your vote for Brian for Mayor is done, already locked in. So again, brianformayor.london/postal. You can send that to your friends as well. And like I said, we email you the actual form you can print out and send to your council, or if you want, we'll actually send you that form via the post along with an envelope that you can just send off to your council. Again, you've got to sign it and put in your date of birth. Lock your vote in right now. A couple other things happening. You can always win prizes for, and that means t-shirts, coffee mugs, all the Brian for Mayor swag that everybody wants. All you have to do is use the hashtag Brian for Mayor and post this video maybe. Repost this video on your social. Post a picture of the bus if you see it out there. Post anything. You can also go to our website, brianformayor.london/share, and download any of our videos, our pictures. If you do that, you qualify to win prizes every single week. Last thing I want to tell you before I jump into this week's episode is our outdoor digital campaign is launching. So keep your eyes out. But you're going to see me larger than life in some of your most favorite digital displays all over London. We're going big. You know, last week and this week, we are now dropping 1 million leaflets throughout the city of London. You heard me right, 1 million leaflets. That's the largest private mail drop in British political history. We're breaking all the records. And we did this to tell the mayor that you can't intimidate us. You can send your police officers out here, but we are not going to stop campaigning. And we wanted to make a statement and send those million leaflets out to know that we're here. And I got an Instagram post from my good friend Danny Jones the other day, who was a former guest on London Real and a band member of McFly and also McBusted. And he posted that out on Instagram and he said, I just got this through my mail slot. So thank you, Danny. I appreciate that. And if you get yours through your mail slot, take a picture of it. Hashtag Brian for Mayor. Tag me on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. I'd love to see what's going on out there. So in addition to that, we're going out there with a digital campaign. So you're going to see my face, my picture. Again, take pictures of that, share it on social, and I want to send you some prizes as well. So we're enjoying this entire experience. We've got 9 weeks left. And again, let's be clear. We are going to have to fight for this. The Labour Party has a machine. They've got a candidate who's been in office for 5 years. Somehow, I have no idea why. And they're going to fight to try to squash the independent voice, the little guy. I'm going to need all of your help to push this message forward. So please share this video right now. Tell your friends and family about it. Volunteer for the Brian for Mayor campaign. and get your postal vote in now, because every vote's going to count on May 6th. This is going to be a close one, but I'm confident that we can win. So let's go back, and I just want to finish off with what happened yesterday, because I think it's really important, because I think it shows character. I think we saw a small sliver, or we saw a small peek behind the mask of Sadiq Khan yesterday. We saw what this man is all about. And when the chips were down, when this man could have stood out and answered the concerns of his fellow Londoners, the people he claims to care so much about, the very people that are going to vote for him on May 6th or not, he decided instead to run and hide. And he literally hid in a coffee shop while he called his security forces, because he couldn't deal with 6 very pleasant, very calm, very nice people that just wanted to ask him questions about the low traffic neighborhood. Again, there was nothing dangerous about this scene. And I want to play the video so you can see why he waited an hour inside a coffee shop locked up, which last time I checked is against the COVID restrictions, right? You're not allowed to be in a coffee shop, are you? We'll get back to that one, Mr. Mayor. Meanwhile, I'm sent police to stop me when I'm walking down the street in a COVID secure bus, but we'll get to that one later. You're locked in a coffee shop for an hour while your security services are called, and then you can't stand there and talk to 5 or 6 citizens and answer their questions. So I want to play this full video again. If you don't know what happened, this happened yesterday. It was at the Hot Milk coffee shop, and he had gone there for a photo opportunity. And that's pretty much the only reason you'll see the mayor in public, and apparently not anymore, is for a photo op. He wants to take a picture with you and then run back into his office at the top of City Hall and not engage with Londoners, because it's too dangerous to do that. I wouldn't do it if I was him either. And so he went out for a photo op. It obviously went wrong. He didn't think within 15 minutes he would be surrounded by angry Londoners, but he was. And I want to play for you the full video of what happened. Again, in my opinion, you see some pretty reasonable people asking him reasonable questions, and he walks away. He doesn't turn around once. He doesn't engage. This is the full video that was posted on Twitter yesterday. We posted it on our channel as well. It's going viral because people really get to see what the mayor is all about. Here is the full video from yesterday.
Sadiq, will you talk to us a minute? This LTN is very socially regressive, and it's killing people with the air pollution. Sadiq, why won't you talk to us? Sadiq, please talk to us. We're just a few residents. Sadiq, please talk to us. Sadiq, can we not talk while we walk? Sadiq, please talk to us. Sadiq, this LTN is causing so much bad air around the area. It's socially regressive. You're forcing people onto North Circular, where you're building 20-story towers housing some of the most vulnerable people in the borough. Sadiq, can you listen? Please listen. Sadiq, can we get an engagement? Sadiq, can you talk to us? You're our mayor, we want to be listened to, Sadiq. Sadiq, please listen to us.
It's supposed to be a democracy.
Sadiq, I would have expected a hybrid at least. Okay, that's it, is it? So he's not. So this is the Mayor of London. He's just done a photo op. He hasn't engaged us at all. Few residents wanting to express some problems in the area, and he's just driven off, and no engagement. Okay, thank you.
What do you think of that?
Well, it's just very disappointing. You know, we live in a democracy, and this is really not good enough. He's come here for our vote, I would have thought, and there's no engagement with us at all. It was just a photo opportunity, and that was it.
You?
Yeah.
You would have thought.
It was just
Nothing.
a photo opportunity.
Nothing.
Sadly. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking behavior from the current mayor of London. The fact that he would just ignore people. And you saw that part at the end where I think there was a reporter there that said, how do you feel about that? And the gentleman on the bicycle, who we're trying to get in touch with right now because I want to speak to him, he said, you know, he wouldn't even talk to us. You know, he wouldn't even listen to our concerns. You know, it's frustrating. He says, I assume he was here to get our vote, but apparently he's just here for a photo op. And it's something we've heard so many times before from Sadiq Khan. He comes out, gets the photo op, puts out the press release, and then hides from the voters. He hides from the citizens. I honestly think he doesn't even care. And I think we kind of saw that by that video. So I just want to say and reach out to the people of Enfield that came over there. Please send me your concerns about your low traffic neighborhoods. I know the frustrations because I had, a similar group of people who were actually much angrier approached me when I was in Ealing just a few weeks ago, and they voiced their concerns about these low traffic neighborhoods. And again, if you don't know, this is a scheme that was cooked up by the mayor that he pushed through the pandemic. During the pandemic, the High Court later ruled that it was illegal, and he dropped these bollards and shut people's roads off that have killed businesses, stopped ambulances from approaching, also kept people from visiting their family, fined people from visiting their family, increased emissions, and increased traffic. And all without any consultation with local residents. It's a frustrating thing, but it's an example of how out of touch the mayor is with the citizens and how much he actually doesn't care about the citizens. And so I want to show you a contrasting video. And this is me speaking with Adam. And again, I was actually in Ealing. I was doing a food drop at St. John's, giving them some food so they could distribute to the people there. And I was actually just getting back on the bus, and Adam started shouting at me from across the street, and I was like, well, who's shouting? I want to hear what's going on. And I went outside, and he started expressing his frustration. And like I said, right before this video, I said, Adam, I'm not the mayor yet. I said, I didn't make these poor decisions. He said, I know, Brian, I'm just so frustrated because no one's listening to us. The mayor makes these decisions. It's costing people money. I can't see my family. It's ruining our businesses, and they're generating millions of pounds of fines off our back in the greatest recession in 300 years. He's so frustrated. And every single person on the pavement are nodding their head the same way. So this is the way Londoners feel, and yet they're not being listened to, and I understand why you're frustrated, Adam. So let me play this video. This is me listening to Adam about his frustrations with the mayor of London and with low traffic neighborhoods.
Absolutely everyone's done this. The main mayor, right, and the government funded that scheme. They paid the money to Ealing Council to implement it. There was many people that feel the same as me. We had an ambulance whilst this scheme was up, and a man had a heart attack inside, all over the news, okay, and they couldn't reach him in time because the ambulance didn't have the key in time. This isn't a local council thing. It's government and it's mayoral. You're right. That's where it sits. Those fundings comes out to these places to put these schemes in place, and we don't look absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Right? I'm almost trying to hold my temper. Yeah. That's how I feel. Okay. So angry. Okay. So absolutely angry. Okay. There's local businesses inside that LTN that cannot operate. They're shutting down. There's a car mechanics that's no getting passenger. A pharmacy which serviced the local area that I could walk to, shutting. Okay. So what they do is they stick these barriers. If anybody makes a mistake, 200 quid.
First, just want to thank Adam for, again, making that trip. He had to walk way out of his way to speak to someone who wasn't elected yet, but he was so frustrated that he felt that was the only chance his voice would ever be heard. And that's because he's just not being listened to, and he's especially not being listened to by the mayor of London. Now, like I said, I don't think, Adam, you're going to have any chance to speak to the mayor and voice his concerns, because the rumor is, over at the Labour Party, is that he is no longer allowed any more public appearances until May 6th. Because it would, quote unquote, jeopardize the election. So again, what we see here is the tale of two mayors. One who was willing to go out and engage with the public. One who was willing to get on a battle bus and drive thousands of miles through every single borough in this city. One who's willing to take your questions right now live and read them out on screen and engage with the citizens, listen to you and serve you. And we have the tale of the second mayor. The second mayor, when confronted with one of his citizens, one of his voters, one of his fellow Londoners, which he claims to care so much about, what does he do? He runs and he hides. And now he's being kept away from the public by his own party because they know it will ruin his chances of re-election. If that doesn't tell you the story, I don't know what else will. Please share these thoughts and messages with your social followings. We've got to let people know the two choices you have on May 6th. And the beautiful thing is that as a voter, you can fire Sadiq Khan on May 6th. You have that choice. All you have to do is go to the polls, or you can do your postal vote right now and lock that vote in and make it happen. So again, thank you very much. And I'm reaching out to those people from Enfield to try to see if I can have those conversations with them right now. I'd like to talk to them. I'd actually like to invite the gentleman on the bike to come here to my world headquarters and to speak with me right here in studio and talk about his frustrations. And right now I want to hear from you. I want your questions. So right now, ask me a question, and ask me a hard question, please. Ask me a question right now on whatever platform you're on. Also, tell me what's the biggest challenge you're facing. Tell me what borough you're in or what city you're in. Next, tell me how have you been impacted financially by this pandemic. Next, we've just seen the mayor announce a 10% rise in council taxes during the worst recession in 300 years. Do you think it's fair to tax the citizens right now? And do you think Sadiq Khan knows how to kickstart this economy? Be honest with me. Fourth, what question would you like to ask Sadiq Khan, assuming he wouldn't run and hide? Put that question in right now. I want to read that out. And finally, do you think we need new ideas, an independent voice, and new leadership to take London in a new direction? So these questions are coming in. I really appreciate it. Again, whatever network you're on right now, type them in. We've got them coming in from everywhere now. Instagram, YouTube, everything is happening. I appreciate that. I got a great question we got Nabil here in Ealing. Asked me, he's got a question here on our website, and he says, quote, I have been in private hire business for over 20 years. What are you going to do, if anything, to support us? In the last 5 years, Mayor Khan has increased every fee we are charged, including the congestion charge and road closures as a consequence of the low traffic neighborhoods. I look forward to your response, unquote. That's Nabil in Ealing. Nabil, I appreciate you so much. You just saw the clip with Adam, one of your neighbors in Ealing, who is as frustrated with you, it sounds, about these low traffic neighborhoods. The problem with Sadiq Khan is that he's never run a business in his life. That's the problem. He's a career politician that wants to use this role for his next job in politics. He doesn't understand business, and I would go to say that he doesn't even like business. He doesn't understand that London was built on business. And when we strengthen our economy, we will strengthen all things. And so why would you expect a man with no experience to do the job of rebuilding London's economy at its worst place since the Second World War? Why would you expect that man to be able to do this? I wouldn't. I think we're asking too much from this man. I think it's time to say, Mr. Mayor, it's time for you to, take a break. Pass the controls over to someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to the business world. I have a plan to actively rebuild London's economy to where I believe we can be the center of the world, the city that rebuilds the safest and the fastest, and I'm going to share that with you today. So thank you, Nabil. I appreciate that. I can feel your frustration. I really understand how frustrated you are. Also, I've got Siam and Hounslow that asked me also via the website, are you coming back to Hounslow area again? Yes, we are coming back there. I was out there just recently seeing my good friend Mohammed doing a food drop out there. I appreciate the people in Hounslow. Hounslow is an interesting borough because it has a lot of direct revenues coming from Heathrow. And we are seeing it in a very, very terrible state economically because Heathrow has been effectively closed. And again, we don't see a plan by the mayor to kickstart business here in London, so why would we expect air traffic to increase? Again, this is all part of my plan to rebuild London, and it's going to affect Hounslow directly. So, Siam, I appreciate that question. Again, you can always leave me a question on our website, brianformayor.london. And now let me jump over to social because there's literally a couple hundred comments here. I'm going to just get through a few of them, and I appreciate all of you. So, I got Agent1736 on Instagram says, I'm going to vote for you, Brian. Definitely. Thank you so much. I've got Green Life in Dublin that says, hello from Dublin, Ireland. Best of luck becoming mayor. If you win, it gives me hope, and I appreciate you. We've got supporters all around the world. And that's so important. I got Love on Instagram says, Brian, what would your budget look like compared to the Chancellor? That's a great question. One of the things I would do immediately is introduce a business rates holiday and a congestion charge holiday post-lockdown. So that should be around May 17th all the way till the end of 2021. This means rates drop to zero. Congestion charge goes down to zero in order to kickstart this economy. I understand economics. I actually took and studied economics at MIT from some of the great professors there. And the first lesson I learned is that you don't tax an economy when you're trying to strengthen and rebuild it, period. And you go, what does the mayor do? He's raised your council tax, he's raised your congestion charge, he's extended your congestion charge, and he's extended the ULEZ zone. It's as if he wants to sabotage our economy. I would do the opposite. I understand business, but I would do more than that. I would innovate and find safe ways to get all of London's businesses, from hospitality to tourism to the arts, from the City of London and finance, where I used to work, all back to work safely and as quickly as possible. I'm talking people in office buildings. We need solutions now to get people back in London. I do not believe that working from home is a viable solution in the long term if we want London to be one of the greatest cities in the world. I don't. That's why I want solutions. I don't want to use fear as a weapon, which is all the current mayor has done over the past year. You know it, and I know it. Couple more questions coming in here. I appreciate these hard questions. Keep them coming. I got Jacone on Instagram saying, I saw your bus drive pass last week. Sweet, thank you. Take a picture of that. Hashtag Brian for mayor, and we're going to send you a bunch of prizes. I got Jacob on Instagram saying, Brian better win. I want to visit London sometime. Thank you, I appreciate it. I got Veli Cooperin on YouTube says, good luck, Brian for mayor. I've got Alex Bartnick on YouTube saying, quote, Sadiq has become very good at running and hiding recently. You are so right there. Maybe it's helping his fitness. I'm not sure, but he's very good at running. I got Kev Hurley on YouTube saying, Sadiq equals won't listen and won't serve. I think you said it right there, Kev. He doesn't want to listen and serve. He wants to run and he wants to hide. I got Immortology on Instagram saying, yes, affordable homes. I'm in on that. And I've shared my detailed plan on affordable housing. I'll be talking more about that in the next coming weeks. I've got Yossi on YouTube that says, you're going to win hands down. Thank you, Yossi. We clearly see that we are the best candidate. Now it's about getting the message out there and about making sure people vote. I'm going to need your help, Yossi. I'm going to need your help, Kev. I'm going to need your help, Alex, with doing that. Please, anybody watching this, share this video now. Share our stuff on your social platforms. Join us as a volunteer. It's going to be a fun ride and a very important ride. This is a crucial fork in the road for London. We can go one way to prosperity. We can go one way. I don't even know. I don't even want to think about what that way looks like, but it's to desolation, desperation, austerity. It's not the way forward. A couple more questions. I got Steve Marsh on Instagram saying you deserve to win and way more than just a candidate. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate you. I got Boz on Instagram saying, why aren't you on the news or TV? Boz, we were on RT a couple weeks ago out on the battle bus. We have been featured in the Evening Standard. And, you know, I really shouldn't talk about this, but I'm gonna say it. If it's just between you and me, Boz, we have a major feature coming out in the Sunday paper of one of the biggest papers here in the UK. And it's coming out soon. It might be this Sunday, so you might want to go out and buy your papers. But it's a big article that really goes into depth about us as a candidate, and it shows you that even the mainstream media now knows that we are the candidate to beat Khan on May 6th, and we're super excited about that. So a couple more questions, and I want to get in to where we're at with the economy and then my solutions on how we can rebuild. I got Joel Jr. on UK on Instagram says, we want the economy to open now. Joel, I agree with you, and I feel you. We've got Gihan Oates on YouTube that says, Khan is mad, increasing tax on working people. And Gehan, that's exactly what he's doing, and that's why Adam was so frustrated. He's increasing these taxes that actually penalize working people and low-income families worse than higher-income families. It's basically bordering on criminal, the way that Khan is acting right now. I've got Mayo Brothers on Instagram saying, go Brian, hashtag Brian for mayor, thank you. I've got Mr. Gum on Instagram saying, I have the impression that Brian would actually govern London because we have no government representing Londoners right now. Why does Khan dislike Londoners? What a great question. I don't know, but he clearly doesn't like Londoners. Lastly, I've got Icy on Instagram that says, how can I get involved in your campaign personally? I tried to apply through your website, and it's a great question, Icy. If you go to brianformayor.london/volunteer, give us your name, your email address, your postal address. We're going to send you an email, and we're going to want to know a little bit more about you. But if you prove to us that you have the right intentions and that you really want to help, we're going to bring you into our group of Inner Circle volunteers. And I do live calls every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and we'll bring you in and you can help us get to the next level. So again, keep those questions coming in. I want to talk next about Sadiq Khan and his pledge yesterday on how he plans to get your vote on May 6th. And again, this was his big announcement on his plans to lead London through our worst recession in 300 years. And he said it was all about jobs, jobs, jobs. And honestly, I burst out laughing when I heard Sadiq Khan talk about jobs, 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 because this is a man who has done nothing to help business, who has done nothing to help the workers of London, who's done nothing to help entrepreneurs in the past year. When we have struggled here, when we have looked for solutions and innovations, all this man does is lock things down. He blames Boris Johnson, and he asks for billions and billions of pounds in bailout. So for me, it was yet another example of his duplicity to come out yesterday and say jobs are now important to him when this is the guy that has been ruining businesses left and right with his behavior as mayor for the past year. And let's look at the bigger picture, first of all, because the UK is facing the worst economic crisis in recent memory. And here's a graph where you can see that the UK borrowing is now at its highest rate since the Second World War. Look at that graph. We are in a dire situation right now. And let's be honest with ourselves. The country now is facing its worst economic crisis in living memory. It's getting very, very bad. We're seeing that the total spending on the country's pandemic support now has now reached £344 billion, and jobless totals are now reaching frightening levels. And the UK unemployment now has now hit a 5-year high of 5.1%. But that doesn't tell the real story. The real story is what's going on in London, because London's numbers are much, much, much worse. And you can see this article here that was featured in On London's recently, and it confirmed what I'm saying here. It says London's unemployment rate is the UK's highest. And when you actually drill into those numbers, they're even more shocking. Now, unemployment in the UK is currently 5.1%, but the rate in London just recently reached 6.5%. That's significantly higher. And if you drill down even further, you find out this shocking stat. 885,000 Londoners, that's close to 10% of the capital's population, currently rely on government support right now just to survive. So those 10% of the people aren't even included in the jobless rate right now. If you stack that on top of the 6.5%, you can see the dire situation that we're in right now. And here's another headline, this one from City AM, and it tells you the truth, and this is what it is. London unemployment rate, largest seen in a generation right now. And we are seeing that this is a very dire time in our economic situation. And the London Assembly's Economic Committee Chair, Leona Cooper, said it very well recently. And I'll quote, "Today's figures showing current unemployment levels in London are shocking." And that's true. Goes on to say, thousands of Londoners are now unemployed. We must always remember the people and families behind these numbers, each and every one, face struggle. As the leader of London, the mayor must work with government on behalf of Londoners to develop a plan to support those who are suffering financially due to the pandemic. And he is clearly not. The Labour mayor, his only solution now is his recent announcement of jobs, jobs, jobs. And yet, look at the headline. You can see this on screen right now, recently from the Evening Standard. Sadiq Khan reveals his biggest ever hike in tax share. That's a 10% increase in council rates. And if we look at the Labour mayor's history, he has no solutions to these problems. And if we look at what he's done over the past couple of years, it's not much when it comes to create jobs. I think it was a couple of years ago, he had created something called the, quote, Workforce Integration Network Design Labs. This was one of his job schemes that created a total of 0 new jobs. And instead of him saying jobs, 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 I think the mayor probably should have come out and say, my plan is committees, 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 because that's what he seems to have done over his 5 years when it comes to try to kickstart this economy. But I see it more of him saying lies, 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 because that's all we see when it comes to his record on economics, when it comes to his record on crime, when it comes to his record on building houses, or it comes to his record on transport. We see a mayor who is incapable of kickstarting the economy of this city. And again, why would we expect a man who's never run a business in his life, who spent 18 years as a civil servant, whose plan is to get another job in politics, who has never made a business deal in his life, he's probably never been to a board meeting in his life, and I don't think he fundamentally understands business. I don't think he even likes business. Why would we expect this man to be able to be in charge of rebuilding London's economy at its worst phase since the Second World War? What we need is a business person in charge. We need someone with industry experience. I have that, 30 years of industry experience. Like I said, automotive, aerospace, Wall Street, City of London. I know how to be proactive when it comes to business, and I'm going to share with you my ideas about how we can rebuild London safely and quickly and make London what I'm calling the center of the world. I mean, this year, I think potentially could be one of our greatest years ever. While we show the rest of Europe that we are the preferred destination for business, for travel, for everything. And I want to share with you that now. Now I want to hear from you, and I want you to ask me some questions. First of all, tell me what borough do you live in? What city are you in around the world? And tell me what question would you like to ask me. I'm not going to run and hide. Ask me hard questions right now. I want to hear them. Tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? Third, the mayor just announced a 10% increase in council rates during the worst recession in 300 years. Do you think it's fair to tax citizens right now? And do you think he is capable of kickstarting London's economy right now when we need someone at the helm who knows what they're doing? Fourth, what question would you like to ask the mayor? And that's assuming that he didn't just run and hide when you came to approach him. And finally, tell me, do you think we need an independent voice, fresh ideas, new leadership to take London in a new direction? So leave me your comments. Again, I'm reading them from all of our platforms. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on live. And man, these are piling in from everywhere. This is absolutely incredible. Let me first go to our website. I got Zafiro from Greenwich who asked, quote, how would you know if you are getting a fair election? This is important for the people to choose who they want to elect for London mayor. It seems to me that Sadiq Khan is making catastrophic decisions without the people's consent and seems to think that we, the people, will be okay about that. It's a great question, Zafiro. I appreciate you. And let's be honest, the mayor has been unelected for the past year. Think about that. We think we're living in a democracy. We didn't elect him for the year of 2020 to 2021. He postponed the election. So every decision he made up until now has actually not been authorized by the voters. And what happens when an independent candidate like me is out there campaigning in a COVID-safe way, following the letter of the law? What does he do? He sends his London police to come and ban me from campaigning. He fined my crew. He tried to intimidate me. But he obviously didn't know much about me because we got right back out on the road. We kept campaigning, logged nearly 3,000 miles on our battle bus because we believe that free and fair elections must take place on May 6th. If you want to ensure that this will happen, lock in your postal vote right now. Go to brianformayor.london/postal, put in your name and address. I will email you a form you can print out and send in to your local council, or I'll send it to you by post. All you have to do is sign it, date of birth, send it to your council. Lock in your vote for Brian for mayor now. Don't wait. It'll help us make sure free and fair elections take place and make sure we can take London in a new direction on May 6th. So I appreciate your comment there, Safiro. Let me go to some of these comments on YouTube and Instagram. I mean, literally, there's hundreds of comments here, so I really appreciate all this. This is a great and amazing. I got the Natural Mystic on Instagram that says, let's go, Brian Rose. London is calling. Thank you, sir. London surely is calling, and I believe they're calling for Brian for mayor. So thank you so much for that. I got Jay Houston on Instagram says, quote, can you imagine a country run by someone who is educated in science, banking, and spirituality? Wow. If we could only have such leaders as Brian. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you're right, that is my background. I've studied economics. I've studied engineering. I've studied business and finance. I've had some of the most incredible mentors in the world here in this studio. I've broadcast over 1,000 of these conversations. And yes, I do understand science. I understand business. I understand health. I understand well-being. And I plan on talking a lot about those things, and I appreciate that question. I've got Adam Platts on YouTube that says, I'm a cyclist and not in favor of the low-traffic neighborhoods. Do you have any further plans in other parts of the country politically, i.e. starting a national party or supporting mayors in other cities? Adam, great question. More on that soon about our party. More on our ideas being used by other cities throughout the UK and other cities throughout the world. Honestly, Adam, right now the world is watching. Everyone is seeing what London is going to do next. Is Brian Rose going to become the next mayor? How can he rebuild the economy? How can he take 9 million people all working together to create the greatest comeback story the world has ever seen? That's what we're going to do. We're going to make London the center of the world. We're going to draw in all of the business from finance, all of the business in media, all of the business in technology. We're going to bring tourists back. We're going to bring culture back. And we are going to be the model for every city in the world, including Manchester, Liverpool, all of our brothers and sisters throughout Britain, but also for cities like New York, for cities like Sao Paulo, for cities like Tokyo, Madrid, Frankfurt. All of these places are going to look to London and the example that we're going to create. I'm excited, but I'm going to need your help to make that happen on May 6th. We need your vote, and we need a new voice. So thank you for that. It's a great comment. I got Mike Peters on Instagram says, with knife crime at higher levels than ever before, how will you tackle the issue and ensure that London communities are safe? Mike, it's a great question. And again, I'm not going to run and hide from your question. Let me answer that question right now. And it's true. Knife crime is at nightmare proportions. We've seen a year-on-year rise in all crime, but more so violent crime, for every year Sadiq Khan has been in office. I recently posted a graph. I think when he came into office, there was something like 713,000 crimes per year. That's gone up to over 900,000 per year over his watch. That's an increase of 28.5%. And yet yesterday, he came out and said, I'm the mayor that's tough on crime. How can you say that with a straight face? He couldn't say that on the streets of London, or he would have to run and hide again. And so I have the solution to knife crime. First of all, I'm going to address it's a problem and take ownership of that problem. Two things the mayor has never done. Second, I've spoken to high-level people inside the Metropolitan Police Force, and I've talked about solutions to this, and they are quite simple. First of all, we need more police, we need better trained police, and we need to digitize the police. And they've all agreed with me that, Brian, we want to do this, and we believe that you're the man to do it. But it goes further, because we've had conversations, and those same officers have said, Brian, we also can't simply police our way out of the knife crime problem. And what they meant is this, is that we need to support the communities. And that's why I have a plan that I'll be announcing shortly to raise £100 million from corporate donors to invest in 250 community centers in every single one of the 32 boroughs in London. Now you might say, well, Brian, why is a corporate going to invest in a community center? First of all, this is a win-win for everyone. And I'm going to pick up the phone and get onto the CEOs of corporations like Amazon, of Uber, of Microsoft, Google, Barclays Bank, HSBC. And I'm going to say this is a win-win situation for you and the community centers. It's time to give back, and it's time for you to have a great chance to show how much you care to these communities. And guess what? This has been done before. Jamal Edwards, MBE, an incredible young man who grew up in Acton with not a lot of opportunities, but thanks to a community center, he was able to build SBTV, his incredible digital hip-hop network and empire that features grime artists and incredible things. He's been a guest on my show, and I'm working with Jamal to do what he's done, which is raise hundreds of thousands of dollars from companies like Google and the Wellcome Trust to pump into the community centers. He's done it with Friary Park, one of his community centers in Acton. And we're going to do the same thing with 250 more community centers here in London. We're going to give these teenagers things to do between the hours of 3:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. That's where the problems happen. When you leave school till mom comes home, we need to give these young people something to do besides get involved in crime. We're going to empower these community leaders to teach entrepreneurship, cooking, wellness, fitness, everything. We're going to do it through corporate funds, so I'm not going to raise your taxes. I've got a solution. I've done deals like this before with CEOs of corporations, and we're going to do it again, and that is my solution to knife crime. I've spoken to members of the Metropolitan Police. They think this is an incredible idea, and we're even going to have some funds here to invest back into the police force. So thank you for that question. It's a great question. Let me get a couple more here. I got Villa on Instagram saying, I am 31 years old and I've never voted. Brian, you will get my first ever vote. Hashtag Brian for Mayor. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Again, go right now to brianformayor.london/postal. Lock that vote in right now. Seriously, do it right now. If you are not registered to vote, go to votefirst.london. You can register in 5 minutes, and let's make this happen on May 6th. Thank you very much. I got Lucas on Instagram saying, Brian, what do you feel gives you an edge over any other candidate? Honestly, it's the transparency. It's the fact that I'm willing to have these discussions with you right now. It's the fact that I don't run and I don't hide when one of the citizens approaches me of London and tells me their problems and concerns. And I'll be honest with you, it wasn't very pleasant being on the other side of Adam in Ealing being so angry. It was an uncomfortable experience. And I could have easily run and hide and got back on my bus. But I was in the moment and I thought, you know what? This is why being the mayor of London is a challenging job, because it's my job to listen. It's my job to hear the anger and frustration of every single citizen and then do something about it. And so I sat there and I listened with Adam. Even though I wasn't the cause of his frustration, I could be the solution of his frustration. And on May 6th, I plan on being the solution. And so that's what makes me different than anybody else. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to engage with anyone on the streets. I'm willing to engage with you digitally. And I'm willing to be honest and transparent. Honestly, in addition to that, we've got the best ideas out there, because I've taken ideas from both sides of the aisle. I've taken ideas, whether you're from Labour or Conservative or Lib Dems, the best idea wins, and that's why people from all parties are helping me behind the scenes to move these policies forward. Let me take a couple more questions, and I want to get back to my final piece. I got Joe Simon on Instagram, says, Brian, I hope you keep making these streams when you win. Yes, I will. We're going to keep streaming from City Hall. We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep engaging with you. That's the only way we can do this, and we're going to do this together. This is not Brian's job. This is all of our job as Londoners to take London to the next level, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to require sacrifices and hard work from all of us. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is, but I believe when we put all of our minds together and we sacrifice, we can make London the best city in the world. I'm confident we can do that. I've got Pawsey on YouTube, said Brian for Mayor is a no-brainer, thank you. And I've got Surf and Protect on Instagram, says, I will move back to the UK just to vote for you. Greetings and good luck from Germany. Thank you, Surf. I appreciate that. Let me finish with my final point. And my final point is this. I know how to rebuild London. And the reason I know how to rebuild London is because I have 30 years of experience in business. Now, we've recently seen our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, give us a few dates. And the last time I checked, it's March 8th when schools are going back. My daughter's going back to school on Monday. He's given us a date of April 12th when I can go back to the gym. Thank you for that. He's given us a date of May 17th when hospitality venues can open, and a couple of the dates behind that of when other things can open. That's not how we rebuild the economy. Those are some dates when people can get back to work. Let me be very clear. These are two different things. One is some dates when you can get back to work. The other is a person in charge that has a proactive view of how we can rebuild our economy from its worst levels in over 300 years. And to do that, we need a business person in charge. We need someone who can innovate. We need someone who likes business, who understands business, and can work with business. I'm talking about someone like me who can empower our hospitality sector to get back to work safely and quickly. I'm talking about someone like me who can get our theaters back. I know John Graham from the Theaters Trust. I want to empower you, John, to get our culture back right away, because that's going to bring people back in the city that are going to support our hospitality venues. I want to encourage people like the Big Bus Company, who I had on my show here, to empower them to get tourists, again, open air buses safely back on this city. I want to empower people in finance to get their workers back in their office safely. I want to empower innovation in the technology sector. I want to pull people back into London. But to do this, we need a mayor that's going to be proactive. And we need someone who can tell the world that London is open for business. And that's going to take a very special type of person. And we get this right, London will be what I'm calling, quote unquote, the center of the world. That means it will lead Europe as a center of excellence. And I think we're going to be primed to become a key force in the world post-COVID. I think this is the greatest opportunity we've ever had as a city. And I know that's hard to believe. We're coming off a very difficult year. I know a lot of people are stressed. A lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people are struggling with their savings. But I believe if we're proactive here with the right mayor in charge that is pro-business, we can kickstart this economy and honestly take London in a new direction. We're at a fork in the road. That's one option, Brian for mayor. The second option is this: 3 more years of Sadiq Khan. 3 more years of a man who runs and hides. That is your option on May 6th. And if we get this wrong, I think we're looking at some of the toughest austerity measures this city has ever seen under that mayor. I see tax rises even more than what we've already seen. And again, he's already shown his cards. 10% increase in council taxes, increase in congestion charge, extension of congestion charge, extension of the ULEZ zone, LTN charges, all hurting workers and all hurting low-income families. This is your choice right now, Londoners. You can get prosperity or austerity. That's your choice, and it all comes down to who you vote for on May 6th. And again, let me be clear. We cannot tax our way out of this problem. That's what the current mayor is trying to sell you. We need to be proactive. We need to support people specifically in places like hospitality and culture. And that's why I propose this. Post-lockdown, which should be around mid or the end of May, that we have a congestion charge holiday. Congestion charge down to 0 until the end of 2021. Also, I want a business rates holiday down to 0 till the end of 2021. This will increase footfall and traffic flow into the center of London and get as many people in this city as possible to rebuild our businesses that are hanging by a thread as we speak. This is a pro-business move. If we do this right, we will have plenty of tax revenues later because we have kickstarted business. But one thing you can't do, as my grandma used to say, is I think she said, squeeze blood from a turnip. If there is no economy, how can you tax nothing? How can you tax nothing? And that's what the mayor is trying to do. He's trying to impose taxes that are actually going to kill off any chances of recovery. And so that's my plan to get London back to work. I think everybody who spent any time listening to me understands that I have the solution here to be proactive. I know how that we can get London back to work, and I've got the way to move forward and to take London in a new direction. We cannot do this alone. I'm going to need your help to do this, and I'm going to need everyone watching and listening right now to share this video. I need you to share the video of the mayor running and hiding from citizens of London, trying to ask a simple question like, why did you put this here? It's really making our life difficult. I'm going to need your help as a volunteer. brianformayor.london/volunteer. I need you to do your postal vote right now. Lock that postal vote in and tell the world that it's time for a new direction. It's time for fresh ideas. And that's the way we're planning on moving forward here. I am going to be out there in the streets. I'm going to be speaking in a COVID-secure way in as many places as possible. I'm going to be out on that bus going through every single borough in this town. I want to engage with as many of the 9 million citizens of London as possible. And I promise you one thing right now. I will not run and I will not hide. I will listen to you and I will serve. This is a new form of leadership. This is a new way of acting as the mayor of London. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm going to have my digital networks open to you at all times. You can ask questions. You can voice your concerns. The best ideas are going to win. I'm going to build the best London possible. And it's not according to my political party's agendas. It doesn't have anything to do with corporate donations from these parties. It doesn't have to do with my political career. I love London. I love this city. And that's why I'm taking a pause on my personal life, on my business life right now to become the next mayor of London, not because I want this job, but because I'm the only person capable of doing this job. And that makes me feel compelled and drawn that I have to do this because I want to take a long-term view of London, a 30-year view. What's the best thing we can do? And I think we can run TfL at a profit. I think we can build affordable housing. I'm going to build 50,000 affordable homes by Christmas of this year. That's 4 times the number of homes the current mayor has built in 5 years. I will build in 5 months. I have a solution for knife crime. More police, better trained police, digitized police, but it doesn't stop there. We have to fund community centers, £100 million coming from corporate donors, 250 community centers rebuilt or built to give our young people options on the streets. And finally, we're going to stop these low traffic neighborhoods. We're going to rethink them, and we're going to have real ownership from the communities where they exist. We're going to make sure that our transport infrastructure is running at a profit, and we're going to solve so many problems in London that all come down to the economy. We're going to kickstart this economy. We're going to rebuild this economy. I can't wait to get started. I see so much possibility in London, but I also see the other way. 3 more years of Sadiq Khan is a dark, dark road indeed. I think we all know that. We don't want that. It's going to be devastating for this city. It's going to be devastating for our livelihoods, our businesses, and our children and our future. So on May 6th, let's make sure we make this happen. Vote for Brian on May 6th. Let's do this. I'm super excited to move forward. I just want to thank all the people out there, all the shares on social media, all the comments, all the people that honked their horns. I was walking to work today, and I was walking down the street, and a bus rider honked her horn, and she said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing good. Are you following our campaign?" She said, "I am 100% with you." And I just said, "Thank you so much." This thing happens to me every single day. People stop me on the streets, people shout out, people honk their horns. On May 6th, the Labour mayor is in for a big surprise because you know it and I know it. We are going to win. We're going to take London in a new direction, and I'm super excited. So thank you so much. This has been Real Deal. We will see you next Friday for another live broadcast. Until then, share this asset, spread the word, vote by post, come and volunteer, and let's rebuild London together. Thank you very much.
At London Real, we believe that individual transformation can change the world. Join us and start your journey today.